If you have spent months or years trying to recover from OCD, but you still find yourself stuck in the middle of this loop, probably you are still trying to fix it. A lot of people spend a lot of time trying to solve their intrusive thoughts, and this is one of the things that keeps you stuck in the OCD loop. In this video, I want to break down the key points in OCD recovery. By the end of this video, you will know why you are still stuck in the OCD loop and what you need to do exactly to get out of that loop. If you're new here or you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Melly Albert. Albert is an ex-anxiety sufferer who uses her own experience of suffering and recovery to help others who are still struggling. In this channel, we create videos about anxiety and sensitization, whether generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety, health anxiety, panic disorder, agoraphobia, OCD, depression, you are in the right place. I share my own experience with anxiety and how I was able to get out of that cycle after 6 years. So if you have not yet subscribed yet, I would urge you to watch this video up to the end. If you feel like this video is valuable or you want to see more of this content on your timeline, kindly hit that subscription button. Otherwise, let's get started into this video. So let's literally just dive in. The first key point in OCD recovery is compulsions and not obsessions are the issue. Compulsions are the issue. Compulsions are the actions that are directly in your control. We call them the second fears. We have the obsessions. OCD has two components. We have the obsessions and we have the compulsions. The obsessions are the obsessive, repetitive, sticky thoughts that pop up in your mind. They are repetitive, they are sticky, and they don't seem to go away. And they simply appear because you are hypersensitized. A tired mind scans for thoughts and latches onto the worst case scenario. Therefore, when you struggle with OCD, you struggle with these obsessive, repetitive thoughts. These thoughts come with a lot of anxiety that you feel like you need to do something in order to alleviate this anxiety. And this is where the disorder begins. This is where now you begin performing compulsions. A compulsion is anything you do to try and alleviate anxiety, anything you do to try and find relief from anxiety. We call that a compulsion. Compulsion can be mental or physical. Mental compulsions may include worrying and analyzing, solving your thoughts, playing past scenarios, rumination, arguing with your thoughts, trying to make them right. Then we also have physical compulsions. Physical compulsions include washing your hands, checking the doors, checking the gas, praying compulsively, carrying water and medication just in case, checking your BP, checking your heart rate, all those, anything that you do to try and find relief from anxiety. That's what is called a compulsion. How these compulsions create the OCD cycle is that you experience a thought. Let's say is a thought like, what if it's a heart attack? Then it creates anxiety. When it creates anxiety, you perform a compulsion. What is this compulsion? You can Google your symptoms, you can seek reassurance, then it provides temporary relief. When it provides temporary relief, you have proved to your brain that this thought was dangerous, and you performing this compulsion is what has helped. So therefore, the next time you experience an OCD thought, you are most likely to perform a compulsion again, and this is how you make the OCD cycle stronger. The thought, anxiety, you perform a compulsion, you find relief, therefore you make the OCD cycle stronger. These compulsions are the ones that are driving the OCD cycle. One of the main keys to overcome OCD is to drop those compulsions. They come in form of urges that you feel like, if I don't do this compulsion, I might stay like this forever or something bad may happen. And because you don't know better, you perform these compulsions, and that's how you hear someone is saying, I've been in the cycle for months, I've been in the cycle for years. It is because of these compulsions. The next time you experience a thought, let the thought play out in the background. It comes with a lot of anxiety, but for you to be able to communicate safety to your brain is by you not performing these compulsions. Compulsions communicate a wrong message to the brain that indeed there is danger. Therefore, more anxiety, you'll be compelled to perform a compulsion. So the next time you are experiencing excess anxiety with those thoughts, don't perform a compulsion. That is the only message that a sensitized brain can get. Those thoughts are gonna feel urgent. They are gonna feel like an emergency, but not performing the compulsions is the way to break the OCD loop. Allow that thought to be there while you tolerate the discomfort that comes with that thought. Tolerate the anxiety that comes with that thought. The second key point in OCD recovery is face what your OCD wants you to avoid. Avoidance is a form of compulsions because you are avoiding for you not to be able to feel anxiety. When you avoid a situation, events, places, people, what you're proving to your nervous system is that there is a threat around. The threat is real. Therefore, you will always have more anxiety where people are when you are going to, certain places, when you are approaching certain situations. When you avoid, you are literally shrinking your world. Today, you are avoiding going to a certain place. Tomorrow, you're avoiding people. The next day, you're avoiding, events. You can't go to the mall. So therefore, your world is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. There are people who also struggle with harm OCD, where they literally hide knives. They can't stand near knives because they believe, they might harm someone or they might harm themselves. There are people who struggle with relationship OCD, where they feel like their partner is, cheating. Therefore, they avoid being intimate with their partners. People who struggle with, loving their babies because they believe, they might harm their baby. They might throw the baby at the balcony. All those are thoughts brought by OCD, and OCD will latch on what you care and what you love the most. It is very big on morals and values. So what used to help me is that whenever I experienced those negative thoughts, those thoughts that were not who I was, I knew that OCD is gonna attack what you care about the most. I cared about my morals. I cared about my values. Therefore, I was having thoughts that were towards me not being a good person, me not being a good friend, me not being a good partner. But in reality, I was a good partner. So OCD is going to attack what you care about the most. Facing your fears is what will make OCD dissipate. If you fear knives, don't hide knives. Just stand near a knife. 99% OCD and anxiety sufferers are always in control, and there is nothing that you're gonna do. If you fear being intimate with your partner, be intimate with your partner. It's just a thought. They are just OCD thoughts brought by fear, you being in a hypersensitized state. If you fear carrying your baby, carry your baby. There is nothing that is going to happen. And when I say, face your fears, I don't mean you will not be having that fear at that time, or that fear will, dissipate immediately. You carry that baby, immediately you expose yourself to, knives. No, you'll be having that fear, but you do it anyway, because that's the only way you can communicate a message of safety to your brain, by facing what OCD wants you to avoid. You do the opposite of what OCD wants you to do. The third key point in OCD recovery is that trying to push thoughts away makes them stronger. We call this the pink elephant effect. Right now, when I tell you not to think of a pink elephant, haven't you thought about it? You trying to push a thought away makes your brain monitor that thought so that you don't think about it. Aren't you thinking about it? Yes, you are thinking about it because your brain is monitoring this thought so that you don't think about it. So trying to push thoughts away is a lot of energy, and you can't wrestle against thoughts brought by OCD. You will not win that war. You can't win against thoughts brought by OCD. Let me tell you something. There are no bad thoughts and good thoughts. It is us, as human beings, who classify thoughts as good and bad. But to our brain, there are no bad or good thoughts. We are the ones who show it that there are, bad thoughts. Therefore, you try to get rid of thoughts. Getting rid of a thought is giving it focus and attention. And when your brain sees that this is the thoughts that you're giving, focus and attention, these are the thoughts that you're signifying that are important, it will give you more of those thoughts, because to it, those are the thoughts that are important. The thoughts you classify as good, maybe you had some, nice food somewhere, those thoughts don't stick, because those thoughts, you let them come and go. But why is it that some thoughts you classify as bad and you try to make them go away, you solve them, you argue with them, you try to make them right, then you ask, okay, why are these bad thoughts sticking? It's because those are the thoughts that you're giving your focus and attention. Anything that you focus on grows, as Carl Jung says. What helped me with the OCD thoughts is letting those thoughts play out in the background without arguing, literally without engaging them, without arguing, without solving them, without trying to push them away, without trying to make them stop. Those thoughts started fading away on their own because there was no importance that I was giving them. Allow the thoughts to coexist freely without you engaging them. That's the way to get over these thoughts. And when I say allow, I don't mean like them, because no one likes those thoughts, but to just give them their space to show the brain that really these thoughts are not dangerous. Therefore, it will stop supplying you with more of those thoughts. The fourth key point in OCD recovery is that you don't need 100% certainty. OCD will always want you to be certain, and in this life there is no one who is certain about anything. We are just going through life. No one is certain about anything. If you need certainty, that's when you'll keep on googling your symptoms, seeking reassurance, worrying and analyzing your thoughts, because you need to be certain. And with OCD thoughts, I've told you, OCD will latch on the worst case scenario. You experience OCD thoughts that maybe the doctors have forgotten something, so you keep on seeking reassurance, you keep on needing certainty that nothing has gone wrong. This is is how you get stuck in the disordered loop of OCD. You might experience thoughts of, what if my BP has gone up? What if my pulse is reading something else? What if my heart rate has gone up? It comes with a lot of anxiety, and you feel compelled to go and check your BP, to go and check your pulse, to go and check your heart rate. These actions are called compulsions, and they're the ones driving the OCD cycle. Learn to live with uncertainty. You don't need to know, because if you are so much into checking your BP, anxiety, yes, can spike your BP, but by the time you're going to check, you are already anxious. When you check, you're going to find it is high. You worry more anxiety, more your BP goes up. Are you seeing the way these compulsions are driving the OCD cycle? But if you don't want to know, if you stop at checking, you will not be worried about anything, and therefore your BP will stabilize. You are checking, then you find it is high, you worry. So the problem begins at checking. If you drop this compulsion at checking, your BP will stabilize. Learn to live with uncertainty and not wanting to know. The less you demand certainty, the less power OCD has over you. The fifth key point in OCD recovery is that fear is the root cause. All these anxiety manifestations, the root cause is fear. You are struggling with OCD because you're having a hypersensitized nervous system. Your nervous system was overwhelmed with fear, worry, and stress, and now you started developing these anxiety disorders, panic disorder, depression, OCD, health anxiety, social anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder. The root cause is fear, and the response is the same. If fear is sustained, it keeps the OCD cycle alive. The thoughts create the fear, and the fear creates the urge to do something to feel safe. An average human being experiences 60,000 thoughts a day. The problem with someone struggling with OCD is that they identify these thoughts and they give these thoughts meaning. An unsensitized person out there, they let the thoughts come and go. But a sensitized person, they engage with the thoughts, they solve the thoughts, they think the thoughts mean something about them, therefore making these thoughts to stick. And this creates fear. When it creates fear, it gives you the urge to perform the compulsions. This is how fear keeps the OCD cycle alive. Let's say you have a thought like, you don't love your baby and you might harm your baby. These thoughts create fear, and when it has created fear, you will avoid carrying your baby. As you know, avoidance strengthens this fear pattern. You experience the thought of you harming your baby. It came with fear. You developed fear. You performed a compulsion of you avoiding carrying your baby. It might provide some short-term relief, but in the long term, you're strengthening the fear pattern. The thing here is to unlearn fear. And how do you unlearn fear? By allowing the thought to exist without performing compulsions. So those are the 5 main key points to OCD recovery. If you have watched up to this point, a thumbs up for this video, like this video, share this video to other people who may need it, and also subscribe because it helps the channel grow. If you have struggled with OCD for months, for years, and you need someone to guide you out of the OCD cycle, a step-by-step guide out of the OCD cycle, practical steps and practical solutions out of the OCD cycle, use this WhatsApp or this email to reach out to me. Otherwise, let's meet on the next one.